The ODM party leader, Raila Odinga, has not declared his bid for the presidency of the Republic of Kenya in the year 2022. But if you ask any of his key supporters, they'll definitely tell you that the next president of the Republic of Kenya is none other than Raila Odinga, because they expect nothing other than the name Raila Odinga on the ballot in 2022. And not only that, they also expect the system to back him up as the handshake candidate. And so far, only 2 candidates have declared their interest for the presidency in the year 2022. That is the Deputy President William Samoei Ruto and Musalia Mudavadi. But again, if you ask these 2 gentlemen who their opponent in 2022 will be, they will definitely tell you that Raila Odinga is their opponent, which means that Raila Odinga might actually run for the presidency in 2022. And it will not be the first time Raila Odinga is running for the presidency of the Republic of Kenya. He has contested 4 times before. The first time he contested was in 1992. And I want to assume he was just introducing himself into national politics. But Raila Odinga again contested in the year 2007. He again contested in 2013 and 2017. And during those 3 elections, Raila Odinga committed a few political mistakes. And it is said that in the year 2007, when it was clear that Raila Odinga was actually winning the presidency, he committed one of the grave political mistakes. Instead of focusing on the prize, Raila Odinga and his handlers retreated to a room in some residence somewhere and started celebrating as they agree on how they were going to divide the cake. And while they were doing that, Mwai Kibaki, who was losing, and his team got the opportunity to figure out how they were going to overturn that victory. And that's how we came to know of Tharaka Nithi, a constituency which had less than 20,000 registered voters, declaring over 90,000 votes in the name of results. So Mwai Kibaki used that opportunity to rig himself in, while Raila Odinga and his team, instead of focusing, were celebrating. So today I want us to look at some of the mistakes which Raila Odinga should not commit in case he intends to be declared the next president of the Republic of Kenya in the year 2022. But before we do that, if you are watching this video for the first time, I want you to just take a second or 2 and hit the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, you automatically get notified. Please, we want to reach 100,000, and I know most of you guys are watching the videos without subscribing. Just take a second, it's not much. Just click the subscribe now so that next time we produce a video like this, you get notified. What we do on this platform is we analyze politics, and the kind of analysis we do, you can't get anywhere else, only on this platform. Now back to the main issue. Raila Odinga, just like any other politician around the world, normally makes or commits several political mistakes. We know when it comes to support, Raila Odinga enjoys the support. Near fanatical. When it comes to energy, Raila Odinga has the energy. He can always traverse this country without any problem. When it comes to creating euphoria, Raila Odinga has the ability to create euphoria anytime, any day. And when it comes to grassroots network, Raila Odinga has that grassroots network. But he has never successfully used it because of certain mistakes which he has been committing. So for Raila Odinga to succeed in 2022, he must avoid the following mistakes. The first mistake Raila Odinga must avoid is to trust the system to work. I'm not talking of ile system ya kina Murathe or ya kina Nancy Gitau. I'm talking about institution. Raila Odinga has been fighting for reforms in this country. And those reforms has actually led to creation of several institutions. One of them is, for example, the IBC. Another one is, for example, the judiciary. Raila Odinga has always believed that those systems can work. When Raila Odinga was robbed his victory in the year 2007, he engineered the change of constitution and the creation of the IBC, the Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission. And he had hoped that that independent body was going to be impartial, was going to deliver the victory to him. In fact, what Raila Odinga did, because previously commissioners to the ECK were being seconded by parties based on their strength. Raila Odinga saw that that was not the best way. So he wanted a commissioners which were independent, people of integrity. So they looked around and they trusted, the first guy they trusted was Isaac Hassan. And again, later we had Chebukati. So Raila Odinga had hoped that these guys were going to deliver free and fair, credible elections. It didn't work. It's actually worse. The IBC is even worse. People like Chris Musando had to die because they were trying to make those systems work. In my view, Raila Odinga must get this thing off his head, that the systems can actually work in this country. Systems don't work. They work to some extent. So trusting them to deliver victory is one thing. If he has a list of things he depends on, it should actually be number 10. Number 10. Look at the Supreme Court ruling in 2013. People had expected the Chief Justice Willie Mutunga to be firm and decisive. It didn't happen. So systems, Raila Odinga trying to trust the system to deliver is one of the biggest mistakes he can ever think of committing again. The second mistake Raila Odinga must avoid is the botched ODM nominations. In this country today, we have only two political parties, which at least have structures. We have KANU and the ODM party. The rest of the parties are always just formed for the purposes of elections. That's why we don't have URP. That's why we don't have Jubilee. That's why we don't have TNA. But at least ODM has been in existence now for almost over 15 years. But one of the mistakes Raila Odinga has always committed is to allow ODM party to conduct botched nominations. If you follow the ODM politics, it has always, their numbers have always been reducing in parliament, reducing at the Senate, reducing. Why? Just because of the botched nominations. I want to take you to Kisii, for example. In Kisii, both Nyamira and Kisii counties, ODM don't have a member of parliament. Why? Because of the botched nominations. In Kisii, for example, the ODM party had relied on two individuals, Governor Mwai and Senator Ongera. And they had hoped that these two guys were going to help identify the right people. But these guys also had their personal interest. So they ended up locking out or denying people who deserve the certificates. And I know people like Osoro, I know the other guy who won on independent, who actually won the ODM nominations, but they were never given the certificates. So they ended up winning. You go to Mombasa, for example, Nyali constituency. Jicho Pevu was an ODM guy. He was locked out. He went. You go to Kakamega. What happened? No, I think in Kakamega you have only one member of parliament, while Kakamega is a bedrock of ODM party. So it's because of the botched nominations. And I'm talking of this because if the nominations are going to be botched, then you are going to attract very few people to contest on that party ticket in future. And if less people are attracted to the party, then it means people are losing interest to that party. So Raila Odinga must ensure that ODM will conduct free and fair nominations. I know it's not possible. Personally, I advocate that ODM should not be taking nominations fee from every other individuals. There are people who are waiting, Like now, there are people who are busy struggling with the party on the grassroots, at the national level, and even at the county level. Then around elections time, a group will come with money and everything, and will cause a lot of confusion. So personally, I always advocate for a situation where the ODM party decides to just tell you, no, we don't want you. So instead of allowing you to come, spend a lot of your money, and then towards the end of the day, they tell you you are not the party member. So that's something I think they must work on. Number 3, which is very important, is that Raila Odinga must start appreciating the power of money in Kenyan politics. Kenyan voters now value money in politics because the politics in this country has been commercialized. The people they've always elected have ended up disappointing them. So what voters nowadays demand is that wanamalizana na wewe hapo kwa hapo, because they know once you are elected, you'll disappear. If you want to be their MCA, they want you to give them their money, wakule, wende. If you are going to be their president, they expect you to give them money, wamalizana na wewe hapo kwa hapo. And this power of money, one man was learned it, and using it effectively is none other than William Samoei Ruto. Almost 80% of the people who are supporting the DP today, they're not supporting him because they believe in him. They're supporting him because of his money, or in the hope that this guy can change their lives. Why are the bishops, church leaders in this country supporting the DP? Because of money. And this move by the DP was actually informed, if you ask me, by what he has gathered and learned during Moi era. Ruto worked under Moi era, and he learned the power of money. He observed how Kibaki was able to take members of parliament from ODM party because of money. In Jubilee party, he was able to understand how they were able to influence voters using the power of money. Raila atoe nyoka kwa mfuko. Kama kuna nyoka imekwama hapo, lazima atoe hiyo nyoka, because the Kenyan voter of today is not the voter of yesteryears who believed in the politics of hope, in the politics of transformation, in the politics of reforms. They don't believe in that. So Raila, uwa nyoka kwa mfuko, toa pesa. I know in the last general election, ODM party and Raila Odinga really struggled because they didn't have enough money. And for example, let me just give you an example. Agents, party agents. For party agents to be committed to you, and you're a presidential candidate, you must have them from here, from Bosia border up to Vanga. For you to do that, you need money, because you'll have to pay them. Of course, there are some people who will volunteer, but most of them, you'll have to pay them. If you don't pay them, opponents will pay them. That's exactly what happened to ODM in some of Jubilee's strongholds. So Jubilee just went and bought ODM agents. So they were now able just to change figures. And these guys were just able to sign. You see, ODM gets 50 votes in central in a constituency in central Kenya. But what is noted down is 5 instead of 50. So definitely it means ODM has lost how many votes? 45. Jubilee gets 552 votes. Then it's increased by around 40. So you increase for Jubilee and you reduce for ODM. And that's a big deal. So the politics of money has found itself amongst us. So Raila Odinga must be willing to spend money. If he doesn't have money, he should not disturb people with the idea of running. If he can have friends who will support his bid, he should just forget about running. But the politics of money is now an integral part. Unfortunately, I know it's very unfortunate, but it's the truth. Number 4, the other thing which Raila Odinga must deal with, mistake which has been committed, is to allow people to infiltrate his campaign. And this is why so many people normally come to ODM last minute. They get the certificate, they win, and then they go back to where they came from. This is why if you follow Raila Odinga's secretariat, the last one, there were people who came last minute, and these people took charge of the campaigns, and these people locked out all the loyalists. People like Wafula Buke found it very difficult to work with this team because this team actually were the other side and they infiltrated. And immediately after the campaign, some of them took off. And some of them have actually written a book. I know one called Onyando. He's written a book. These are some people who are actually known to be associates of people who are close to the other side. So Raila Odinga must try to figure out how to avoid infiltration. Because without that, then his campaign will continue being porous the way it has always been. So that's number 4. Number 5, the other thing Raila Odinga mistake he should not do, especially in the next election, he should not fail to reward loyalists. The reward system around Raila Odinga is very poor. It rewards people who are not committed to the cause. People who have never contributed anything to Raila Odinga's presidential bid. That's how we end up, how Raila Odinga and ODM ended up with someone like Chebeni. Mercy Chebeni, is it Nancy or Mercy? Chebeni as a nominated senator. She was not the only woman who was qualified, who was committed to be nominated as a senator. There were so many committed young men and young women, even from Rift Valley, who actually put their resources, time, and energy to campaign for Raila Odinga. But they were not rewarded. So a lot of young people were very unhappy with that. So they don't see any need of committing their time to campaign. And I'm talking of this because it's for the future. If these things happen, then most of these people will not see the need to continue committing their time and energy to support ODM party. Take for example in Nakuru County. ODM I think had slots for around 5 or 6 nominated slots for that county assembly. The people who are nominated are not even known to the non-ODM operatives in that county. Why? Because certain individuals either took money or certain individuals were girlfriend to someone or related to someone. So wanaletwa tu. So the people who have been stuck with the party for a long time in those regions feel that there's no reward in this party. So you can't put a lot of so they don't put a lot of the energy, a lot of their resources again into that campaign. So reward system, Raila Odinga must figure out whether he is going to win the presidency or not. Because from all indications, Raila Odinga is keen on leaving an ODM party which is strong for a future. But that will only be possible if loyalists are rewarded in that party. And lastly, number 6 is what I can call family control. Of course, family members are actually the bedrock of any other individual. Uhuru Kenyatta has George Muhoho, has Beth Mugo, and has several other family members around him in Jubilee Party. And they're calling the shots. That's granted. William Ruto has so many close relatives. And even the son now, Nick Ruto, is actually the one calling the shots around him. That's okay. Because you can't trust any other person in most cases. You can only trust your blood, your relative. They're the only people who can stick with you. The same to Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga he comes from a political family. His family members are all politicians. They have the rights to contest and they have the right to stay around Raila Odinga. But what's not good is to try to control everything. Controlling everything. In 2013, I was very mad because I believed the person who ought to have won the Kisumu gubernatorial seat was actually Adhiambo Odinga, Ruth Odinga. But Ruth became a victim of being a member of the Odinga family. Because he was related to Odinga, so a campaign was engineered, that Raila wants to take the presidency, he wants to give the sister the governor in Kisumu, which I found very funny because Adhiambo, in my view, was the strongest candidate. I'm not talking of that. The Odinga family, the Ruto family, and all these other guys, they have the right to contest for any elective post they wish to. The only problem I have is if they want to control campaigns, such that when the time for campaigns reaches, then you go to this area, the family. You go to this area, the family. You go to this area, the family. And this family ends up bringing all their friends, relatives, So campaign is like this total confusion because everybody wants to prove that they are related to the Dingas. So that family control must also stop. But because he must have family members around him to tell him that, look, boss, this is what's happening, then they must also be part of it, but not to control everything, not to, things like those. I don't know what you think, but that's my take. I don't know what you think, and I don't know whether you believe that there are certain mistakes which Raila Odinga should avoid, which I have not pointed out. Let me know in the comment section. Thank you guys, and please may you have a good day. The president has actually removed some of the restrictions, so the lockdown in Nairobi is now not there, so you can walk freely to Nairobi, but the curfew is still there. So I think that's good for the country. Thank you guys, and please don't forget to subscribe to this channel now.